Hello all, Jeff here with a new video. Recently I thought, I've had these Logitech wheels for a few years now, or at least the G29 in that case. But I thought to myself, I need a change. I need to go with something a bit more immersive and with something that'll hopefully get me more consistent in the long run. So I've decided to go with the Fanatec CSL Elite. I've had my eye on one of these for a while, and not only that, it's very, very premium kind of stuff, even though it's Fanatec's entry-level gear. But another appeal for me is this works on PlayStation and Xbox, whereas Logitech and Thrustmaster, you're stuck with one or the other. Yeah, as you can see, my G920 isn't here because I've since sold it. But look, Logitech wheels, if you're starting out in sim racing, get one of these or one of the cheaper Thrustmasters. If you want more immersion, then Fanatec is a good way to start. But let's just check out what Fanatec has to offer compared to Logitech. So with Logitech, the base itself has been pretty much the same as like the G25, G27. A few upgrades here and there, obviously G29 with the PS4 compatibility, G920 or G923 with the Xbox One compatibility, Series X, all that stuff. Work on newer consoles, both of them. Thing with Fanatec is, this is just hard plastic that you have on the Logitech, whereas this, yeah, it's plastic, but it's definitely a lot higher quality. But what about the rims themselves? Well, now it's time to check that out. Now, in terms of your Logitech gear, there isn't really an ecosystem as such. So if you get like G29, G920, G923, whatever it is, you're pretty much stuck with whatever rim and whatever pedals you're given. But the thing with Fanatec is, like Thrustmaster, they have an ecosystem, so most wheels will work on most wheelbases and most pedals will work on them as well. I mean, I've gone through the quality of the Logitech wheels. The leather is really nice, except it's not as good on the G923. But Fanatec, there are so many offerings, it's not funny. But I'll go in depth with the ones that I've personally got, so let's go with that. So, the rims I've got for my Fanatec, I've got the Club Sport F1 Esports rim, as well as the the newly released WRC rim. Now, this F1 rim, it came with the F1 Esports kit, which is not available to buy anymore, but I bought it used, so whatever, there are some button caps missing, but I can just easily replace them. Overall, this is a really nice wheel. It's got a very premium feel, and it's got like tuning options on this little button here. It's so cool, and the whole thing lights up as well. The lights are blinding, by the way. But in terms of just connecting it to a rim, I'll show you that later. But with the F1 rim, it's a quick release, so you just press that to put it in and get it out. But overall, it's really nice. I do use this one a lot more because there's extra buttons, especially for mapping. Although mapping, some of these buttons doesn't work on console, which is annoying, but PC, you're all sorted. But I've also got the WRC rim released late last year. Now, this is a CSL Elite. This is basically an updated CSL Elite P1, and it's all Alcantara. Well, this is mainly Alcantara, the F1 one as well. So I'm using gloves, which I didn't want to use, but that's just a a tiny little compromise. But the WRC rim, as you can see, Xbox. There's a few less buttons on here, but I do use it every now and then, so it is nice, and it doesn't have a quick release. Instead, it's got like a screw-on function. It's not like the old P1s where you have to like screw it in, put a screw in the bottom. It's just a nice little twist, and it's very easy to do. And the pedals, they are a bit different as well. They're not as quick as the F1 ones, but they're actually a lot quieter. But overall, really good wheels, and these are like mainly entry level stuff. Then you got the Porsche and BMW rims and the Forza Motorsport ones, and they're just so expensive. So I just wanted to go with the cheaper options to start off with. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And once you're sorted, it's this case of just putting it onto a rig, whether you bolt it on or you grab the clamp, which you put in the bottom of the rig. Or desk. Well, this is mainly for desks, but the thing is, my rig, I don't have the holes for it, so I have to clamp it, which is annoying because, I would much rather hard mount it, but that's just a a tiny little compromise for now. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, this is the PlayStation licensed CSL Elite. So just remember that, because there are Xbox only CSL Elites, but if you get the PlayStation one and you put on an Xbox rim like this or the McLaren one, well, as I said, this will work on PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Series X. Imagine in the real world, you have my VZ Calais and you whack a Barra Turbo and a ZF 6-speed under the hood. Yeah, people are going to hate you, but you've got the best of what Holden and Ford have to offer in the same car. Basically, what we've got here is the sim racing equivalent. But let's check out the pedals, shall we? So, comparing the pedals, Logitech, you've had the same since the G25, G27, except there might be something different with the brake underneath, depending on what one you've got. Fanatec, you've got options. You can use the CSL Elite pedals like what I've got here, or you could get upgrades such as the load cell kit, or the even better club sport pedals. Now, I've just got the 2-pedal system, the CSL Elite at the moment, so it's a bit of a downgrade not having a clutch. However, you can always map a button on your wheel to have a clutch. So it's like, for now, it'll be Forza style button bashing for me, but the quality is so much better. I just feel that it's just so much better. And not only that, with these pedals, right, you can either have them like really far apart or really close together. So that's really nice. So you've got these bolting options, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, if you've got, say, a play seat rig and you've got those ones that's just got the one pole going down in the middle of the stand, you can have these, like, as far left and as far right as possible, so you're not constantly crossing your legs around that pole on the rig, so that's handy. And now, I don't have the load cell kit yet, but I do plan on getting it at some stage. For those wondering what that is, you get load cell brakes, you get an extra pedal, so you end up having a clutch as well. So you can just put these further left, further right, put the brake in the middle. And not only that, with the brake pedal, the non-load cells, there's a rubber there. So you can just take that out whenever you get the load cell kit, and then you've got a proper clutch. But overall, the customization that Fanatec offers is pretty darn cool. And the fact that you're able to upgrade the pedals by giving this an extra pedal or going with the club sports with the CSL Elite is pretty cool. Now, you may be wondering what the CSL Elite is like to use. Let's find out right now. You've seen a little bit of footage of how it runs, but you will see a lot more very soon. But anyway, one thing about Fanatec wheels is customization is key. There's tuning settings, so there's a tiny button beside the speedo on the F1 eSport trim, and there is a tool button underneath the Xbox button on the WRC rim. Basically, once you press these, whichever button that is, it takes you to tuning settings, and you can have up to 5 different settings, which is pretty cool. So stuff like sensitivity, force feedback, brake level indicator, shock, force, spring, dampers. Yeah, there's a lot there, and force effect intensity, which maxed out feels. You have that rattling feeling of the Logitech wheel, so if you don't want that, you can just turn that off and it's happy days. But yeah, there's a lot of options there for you. So for example, if you're karting on GT Sport or Kartcraft, you're gonna want force down and the spring effect a lot higher, because you need tiny little increments to go karting, whereas that could be very different for something like a rally car. You want that the other way around. Or if it's race room where you've got that pendulum kind of effect where the wheel doesn't want to stay center, well, you can change the settings to that as well to adjust. And you'll notice that there is a mode button on the wheelbase itself, so if you've got a PlayStation rim or just a general rim on the connected, you've got the red mode for PC and blue for PlayStation. Whereas if you put an Xbox rim on, you'll get a green mode as well, which is for Xbox, just so you're aware. Now, as you can see, you're looking at how you put a rim on the base and how to take it off as well. As you can see, the quick release is so easy to do. It's very instant. I mean, the WRC rim does take a bit of time to screw in and take out. But as you can see, there's a lot of shake there. That's mainly because my sim rig is what I'd like to call the dad bod of sim rigs. It's a bit average, but it does the job nonetheless, so whatever there. But in regards to pace, you're not going to be instantly as fast as you are on the Logitech or Thrustmaster. It's going to take time, so just be wary of that, because I am still getting used to it, to be honest. But it regardless is an absolute blast, and the fact that you can have settings for, say, ACC or iRacing, or different settings for PC and console, you know, that customization is there, and it's like setting up a car in many ways, in the sense you need to get used to it, and you need to change a few things here and there to your own liking. Because let's be example, my settings could be completely different to, say, James Baldwin's, because everyone drives differently. Let's be honest. So it's not like a Logitech or a Thrustmaster is like, okay, I can just adjust the settings in game, done. Whereas you can adjust the settings on the fly on your wheel depending on what kind of car you're driving, and that in itself is pretty cool. Yes, it takes time and effort, but I'm really enjoying the experience at the Fanatec. It is amazing, and I mean, as I said earlier, this is the entry-level rim for Fanatec, and I've looked at the Fanatec store recently, and actually the PS4 licensed CSL Elite is the only one you can buy brand new at the moment. So that's one thing to note, because there have been like previous ones that are not compatible with PlayStation, but not the case anymore. Maybe we'll get a PlayStation compatible club sport wheelbase. That would be a huge plus for many people. I mean, would I go direct drive at this stage? No. Mainly because, I'm pretty semi-casual when it comes to sim racing. Yeah, well, according to Overtake DG, I'm a pro at Forza. That's their words, not mine. But I really want to delve into sim racing, and Fanatec is definitely the right way to go to get me more consistent. What I felt is Fanatec does feel a bit better on PC than it does on console, so a little bit of tweaking here and there on the PlayStation or the Xbox will definitely help there. But regardless, it is such a good wheel, and I'm glad I made the purchase. So let's get into the pros and cons of having a Fanatec CSL Elite. Let's start with the pros. Cross compatibility. No other company makes a wheel that works on PlayStation and Xbox. It's usually one or the other. I mean, almost every sim racing wheel does work on PC regardless, which is a huge plus. But Fanatec, having all platforms sorted, that is very appealing to me. The floor of tuning settings is also a huge plus. Whether that's doing it on the fly yourself or going into the Fanalab software on your PC and playing with the settings, whether that's with like iRacing or ACC or whatever sim is available to play with on Fanalab, that's another thing. And the last pro is customization. There are so many rims you can put onto this wheelbase, whether that's the McLaren rim, the Porsche rim, the BMW M3 rim, and soon the M4. There are so many options available, or even the NASCAR rim, which is massive. The universal hub, so you can just bolt your OMP rim that's lying around from your old HZ Holden. You can whack that on if you really wanted to. That's pretty cool. The cons, I mean, it's not really about how it feels, but mainly, well, you'll need to know how to drill into things, especially if the hard mounting holes required for the CSL Elite are not available on your wheel stand or sim rig. So that's one thing to note. Another con is, I'm not a fan of the clamp, just mainly because it shakes around if you've got the force very high, and it does move around a bit, but I think that's mainly due to my dad bod sim rig, but what can you do there? But yeah, overall, really nice indeed, this piece of kit. So there you have it. That's my views on my new Fanatec gear. I mean, as I said, if you're just a casual that's only sim racing for like a couple hours a week, I do suggest sticking with whatever Logitech or Thrustmaster gear you've got, or depending on the model, of course. I mean, if you're constantly sim racing and you're looking for that extra bit of immersion like I was, well, definitely this is the right kit for you, and you're all sorted with all platforms as well, which is a huge plus. But anyway, if you like the video, smash the thumbs up button, leave a comment, let me know what you think of this, and if you do want to see more of my content, maybe consider subscribing and tapping the notification icon. Anyway, this is Jeff here, and happy racing. Cheers and goodbye.